Hello nerds and welcome to Into the Wild, your favourite wildlife and conservation podcast where we look at all things, well, wildlife and conservation.
This is a podcast of curiosity where we know we don't have all the answers.
Oh, that's my co-host Nadia, by the way.
Hi. But it doesn't really matter because we're here to learn and crucially listen to those who are affected by and closest to the issues that we as conservationists tend to pick over from our comfy living rooms.
So strap yourselves in, open up your luggles, grab a brew and join us as we geek out over nature, share our love for wildlife, rarely take ourselves seriously, all whilst learning. Oh, and we sometimes swear. In it hot.
It's cloying.
You're going to have to tell me what that word means.
I'm assuming it means, because I can't guarantee when I say words. I think it means like clammy and hot and close and
Yeah. No, it really is. Do you know what I realised this weekend, because it was, oh God, it was a scorcher in London. It was 34 degrees on one day. And yeah, it's too hot to have a lot of concrete around with that. But I realised there's two types of Londoners in a heat wave. The first one is someone that cannot contain their thrill, excitement and passion when someone WhatsApps them the words or they hear the words pub garden.
Yeah.
They just lose their mind. They'd walk away from anything. They'd leave work, risk getting fired.
Yeah.
Or they'd leave a funeral halfway through the service.
Yeah.
Just to go and have 4 Moretti's with their friend on a Tuesday afternoon. Like, they'd do it.
Yeah, of course.
The other person in London during a heat wave is just f***ing furious at everything. Like, nothing really has to go right. Like, their train will be delayed, they explode, or like someone's wearing a rucksack in front of them and they're like, oh God, can you believe, like, they just cannot stand anything. But you can calm them down by just looking at them, smiling and going, there'll be a thunderstorm soon. And they go, yeah.
You definitely have been both of those. Because you voice note me when people in front of you are walking too slow.
Yeah, but there's no need for it in London. There's no need to walk slow.
In the heat, especially.
You should be out.
You love a pub garden, though. So I don't know where you sit on this. I know that you say, I think it's not two types of people in London. I think they are the extremes. And you are in the middle. No, you love
that was the longest gap.
You love a pub garden.
I love a pub garden. Like, if Mand texts me now,
you'd hang up the podcast.
And said pub garden, I'd go, we need to record tomorrow.
And if it's hot tomorrow, I can't guarantee I'm going to be here.
Then sorry nerds, there's no show this week.
It's hot.
It's hot in London. The thing is though, we've got so many pub gardens around here as well.
Nice.
We got the Woodman, we got the Flask, we got the Wrestlers, we got the Bull and Gate, we got the Red Lion and Son. Prince of Wales only got a little one, but it is there.
I've been sat out the front of Prince of Wales, never out the back. Is there a back?
The back's a few benches, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
How are you anyway?
Hot. Well,
hot.
I stayed in my van for a week with the hot weather, and I was category B, as you described, because
just furious.
Didn't have aircon, and being stuck in traffic is such a dreadful position to be in, because you have to have your window open for air, but it's not fresh air, it's fumes. But then if you shut it, the temperature goes up exponentially in your car, so you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and you are minging, you know? Like,
is it a coincidence that you and Lucy both own, for nerds listening, I'm talking about Lucy Lapwing, you know, friend of the podcast, you both have vehicles that don't have aircon?
Because we're not millionaires.
I think in 2025, it doesn't take a millionaire to have aircon, does it?
No, there is an aircon button. When I put it on, it just blows hot air, though, so there's something wrong with it, I think.
That's what happens in Lucy's car.
Right, okay.
It's either off or blowing hot air.
I know. But do you know what? It is? It's because we live in Scotland, and so it's one of them things where you don't need it for 99% of the time until the moment you need it, and then you're like, oh God, do you know what I mean?
I know. It's just the way you said it. It was the weirdest thing to blame living in Scotland for.
I bet there's a lot of people with air conditioning that doesn't work in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then every now and then they're like, oh yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
when they
it's
cross the border.
hot.
It's hot, isn't it? Shall we jump into our... Let's do some nature highlights, Nadia. What's been your nature highlight?
Okay, I've got two, and obviously we've only got time for one, so I'm going to say, do you want the bird one, which is nerdy?
Right.
Or do you want the ancient one, which is nerdy?
Weird that you specified they were nerdy when they're both nerdy.
But I think they're in like a category, you'll hear, they're both extraordinarily nerdy. It's not just, oh, I saw a fly, that was nice. It's beyond that.
I felt like that was an attack at me then.
A little bit, yeah. You have been to be honest, you have been talking about flights a lot recently, and I don't know what's going on.
I feel like the ancient one is the only way forward with this, isn't it? What's the ancient one?
I spent last week on the Jurassic Coast fossil hunting. Now,
Wait, well, before you carry on, if you didn't find a dinosaur, why are you bringing this to the table?
Well,
oh God.
If I got look, if there are any fossil nerds out there, I need you to get in touch with the pod, please, because I actually, first of all, I spent hours in the sunshine on the beach looking for fossils, and I got a really nice hoard. And this is nature news because it was once alive.
Thank you for explaining what a fossil is.
I know, but you know what I mean? I don't want... Like, it is nature, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. No, keep going. You're doing well.
I found my first ever pyrite ammonites, which are ammonites that are made... These are fossils that are made in conditions with iron ore. And so they're like gold and bronze. They're like little gems, and they're amazing. And I found what I think is a dinosaur bone. But I do need... someone to comfort, like a little fragment, what I think is dinosaur bone, and I've got my reasons for it. I'm not going to go into now because we haven't got time, but if there are any people that could verify that via an image, I'll send it to you.
There are definitely people out there that could. We must know someone.
Come on, get in touch.
Get in touch.
We're our fossil nerds.
What's been my nature highlight? That's a ruddy question, isn't it? There you go, I got one. I took my... That was quick, wasn't it?
Oh, God.
That was a real
He went into his mind palace and came out.
Just opened that cupboard. I took my camera on Hampstead Heath yesterday. So like the day before was very hot. So Riley could only have like a little walk in the morning. So yesterday was a lot cooler. So I decided to have a nice long walk on Hampstead Heath. But I thought if I take my camera with me, it will slow me down and kind of, like I can get into the meadows and the flowers and just sit and Riley can mooch around. And I saw a patch of ragwort that I hadn't seen in this field before. I was like, I don't remember ragwort being there. I went over, saw a few cinnabar caterpillars, and I was like, oh, that's early, but they're out. And then saw some cinnabar moths flying betwixt the grass and the ragwort, which I've seen the caterpillars on the Hampstead Heath, but I've never actually seen them before. So it was the first time seeing the moths flying around. And I got one friggin' photo because the knobhead wouldn't stand still.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. Cinnabars do not.
I thought you were saying cinema, and I was going to have to correct you, but you did just say it correctly.
Did I say so? I know it's cinnabar, so
yeah,
I say it very quick.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah,
and
so
actually, you sent
them.
me a picture, and you are quite the talented photographer, Dalton.
Thank you. I actually don't take it seriously at all. I just I take pictures for me. I don't really share them. I might put them on Instagram every so often, but not very often.
When there is a category of human, isn't there, who are really into their photography.
I just think it's nice to slow down.
You dabble.
Yeah, and snap, and like if you get a good one, great. If you don't, you had a good walk. Yeah, that's my...
It's a mindful activity.
It is very mindful. Well, those are two nice nature highlights, and I cannot wait to be inundated with emails from archaeologists.
I actually, when I was down south, it was the Lyme Regis Fossil Festival. Totally coincidental. I saw so many nerds. I'm starting to think that wildlife nerds need to up-nerd their nerd, because when you see geology nerds, they are scales beyond in their nerding, like the little snippets of conversation. I saw this one couple holding hands walking along the beach wearing matching dinosaur t-shirts. I don't feel like we are doing nerdiness a good enough service.
Mm. Do you think it's because it's a bit more niche as well?
Is it niche? There's a lot of geologists.
It's nicher than wildlife, isn't it? In nature.
Yeah, maybe. I think wildlife, you could be more of a generalist. You can't know a bit about rocks. You have to know all of the rocks, don't you? Yeah. I think probably. Yeah, anyway, exciting. if you are a naturalist as well as a geologist, please do get in touch.
Get in touch. Right, strap yourself in, Nadia. Put your seatbelt on. You ready to dive into this week's episode of Nature News?
Yeah. Is the water cool?
Well, if it is, you'll love it.
We're diving in.
We're diving in. Let's go. Okay, so this week's nature news, we're going to do bits of a recap, and we've also got bits of... It's a little bit different, I guess. It's not quite just picking news stories out that have happened this last 7 days, or been announced this last 7 days. Do you want to go first? Have you got an update on a news story that we've covered?
I do
previously?
have an update. I can imagine that there's loads of frustrated listeners out there just going, I don't know why she hasn't updated me yet on Whoopi Iceberg, because as we're calling it.
I totally forgot about that Whoopi Iceberg.
When you said,
I'm sorry.
Nadia, well, when you said to me, Nadia, we're going to do some updates on nature news that we've been up to, first thing I thought was A23A came straight into my mind. I was like, this is the giant iceberg which has broken off Antarctica. And
I swear to God, if the update is it hasn't moved.
It's moved a bit. It has moved a little bit. And thanks to the US icecenter.gov website,
Thank God
you
for
can
them.
actually see a list called the Antarctic Iceberg Files, which is an iceberg table of all of the icebergs listed and their longitude and latitude current location. This was last updated on the 20th of June, so 3 days ago. I can tell you the longitude and latitude location is 56 degrees by 44 south, 35 degrees by 12 west. And it is a little bit past the island of South Georgia, which is where it ran aground near South Georgia. It's moved a bit, and apparently it is breaking up and melting. This is the biggest kind of broken off piece of... Remember, this is the size of Greater London. This is a big piece of ice.
Yep.
And so it is moving, and it's breaking up as icebergs do.
Wow.
So there you go. Whoopi is on the move.
Whoopi. So she is moving. We've gendered
not
it.
fast.
No.
But the interesting thing that we actually want to keep and I'm trying to keep an eye on this to see whether there is anybody. It looks like there's so many different organisations which like look at the Antarctic and ice and all of this stuff. I'm trying to figure out what I want to see is this idea that the iceberg itself will hold so many nutrients that as it melts, it's going to create a massive nutrient surge in an ocean, which might be quite nutrient low, which will impact wildlife. So like fish, whales, cetaceans might come to that area. So let's keep an eye on Whoopi and see if it is like a bounty kind of nutrient load. The nutrient load from this might drop like an atomic bomb of ice nutrients. Let's keep an eye on it.
God, I wish the nerds could see the way you delivered that.
So exciting.
Your hair went like 1950s.
Hey, you can track any iceberg you want. Big ones or not little ones.
Well, you did say this industry needs to get nerdier, so maybe this is our rabbit hole. Let's start with icebergs.
Oh dear
and
me.
nutrients. Okay, well, I'm glad she's on the move. Can't wait to see where she is next. It's like she's travelling. I'm travelling
I'd love her to come here if I'm honest. She's not going to. She's a long way away.
No, well, she won't get anywhere near London. She's the size of it.
Up the Thames.
It's not going to get up the Thames, is she?
What if it's melted by it might melt.
Well, by that point, yeah, it might just be like an ice cube just going through the Thames.
There with our binoculars.
Well, there she is. Not quite Whoopi Iceberg anymore.
Less impressive, but welcome anyway.
Okay, my bit. I am covering, I think, when did we cover this? It was February, I think. God, do you remember February?
Yeah, it was so cold.
Yeah. God, what a time.
Such a
February,
time.
we reported that the Labour government, or it had been reported that the Labour government had stuck their middle finger up to the natural history GCSE.
Yeah.
They decided they were going to U-turn and go, nah, bruv, that ain't for us. And it was kind of at the same time. Do you remember when we had the beaver thing? And they were like, nah, not going to do beavers. And they were like, no. And it got all reported. And you and I on the podcast said, is this just them turning down previous Tory policies? And they're going to bring in their own version, but it's not communicated well. It turns out that pretty much was the case, because not only did beavers get a green light, but the natural history GCSE, I can now update. And this actually happened about 4 weeks after we said it on the podcast, but it's been confirmed that they're going to bring it in. So the Education Minister, Catherine McKennell, said that this will equip young people to understand and respect the natural world and contribute to the protection and conservation of the environment locally, nationally, and internationally. Mary Colwell, who you know Mary Colwell, don't you? Everyone knows Mary.
Yeah,
Colwell.
well, I met her once in a pub.
Yeah. Well, Mary said that it's obviously she's delighted. Mary's been campaigning for this to come through, I think, since 2011.
Yeah.
So a long time she's going, this needs to be a thing, along with other people as well. And she just said that she does believe that the criteria drafted under the previous government would need to be revised to ensure that young people in England, Wales and Northern Ireland will have fieldwork options to learn about wildlife in their local area. But it's looking to come in September 2025. So...
That is this year.
Yeah, I know. I thought that. That's quick, right? Like something to be confirmed, like what, in March, end of March or mid-March, and then coming in September. So it's obviously great news. It's wonderful that like children and young people are going to be able to like take that further education into natural history as well as all the other sciences that, you know, are on offer and that you can actually do. Well, especially, I'm saying this, my GCSEs were ages ago, but I assume that's still the case. But I've wondered if we could have a chat here about what we think that's going to look like. How do you create a GCSE on something so complex and huge, but not only in its natural systems, but in the kind of, I guess, I'll just call them human systems, and how we manage conservation and how we understand science and how academia work. I wonder how that kind of stuff's going to be crafted and compiled together to teach people at GCSEs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know watch this space. I you know, the only way to learn about nature is to be out in it. So it's going to be a really weird thing to learn within the classroom. I can imagine that there will be field trips, but schools take the brunt of the cost of a field trip. So if you live somewhere with not a green space around, then that school's going to have to spend... I don't know, it's very weird. I don't know.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
It's a weird one. What are you going to do? Like, just have a PowerPoint with the different, like, trees? I don't know. I know that we can learn... I mean, geography is taught in the classroom, and that's quite a lot of the natural world is involved in that. I don't know. I honestly, to be honest, I'm obviously positive and I'm happy that it exists, GCSE. Yeah. But, like, I remember once working on a nature reserve and a bunch of ecology students came in. They were in, like, second year studying ecology, and they didn't know basic stuff about birds and plants. And I was like, they're learning, like, theory, but they're not being immersed in it. So I don't know. Watch this. But
that's what I mean. There's just so much to learn. Like, and I'm not suggesting that at GCSE you're meant to know it all, but I'm wondering what kind of, when we talk about learning about natural history, and this might change year on year, you know, in the same way like history GCSE does, English GCSE does. You learn, obviously you might learn the same things, but you learn in different ways, or you have different kind of case studies you learn from. But I'm just wondering what bullet points of natural history are going to be on this kind of syllabus for it. I'm so fascinated to kind of learn about this as someone that would have done anything to have a GCSE.
Ryan, we're gonna do the exam. So
we're gonna do the exam. I feel like I need to do the study as well.
No, we're just gonna do it without studying. That's for our listeners. That's for our. In fact, we could probably take that to Bird Fair next year.
Should we? I'll start talking to Bird Fair now.
I think, but also the other thing is, like, I really do wonder whether I just saw a fly go into a spider's web and the spider came out to try and get it.
Live nature on Into the Wild.
It's happening, guys, right now.
Right now we have a fly.
The fly has now released itself from the web.
Oh, that's...
The spider looks forlorn.
Yep. What face is it doing to look forlorn?
Sort of like a...
Oh.
You know, you can't see this, listeners, but just imagine a spider.
It was an eye roll,
out.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, sort of like, oh God, here we go. No, but also I wonder whether the natural history will be taught in the context of, like, this is the nightjar, this is why we've lost the nightjar. Like, will they be taught about biodiversity loss, or will it just be like a natural history program where you learn all the nice things about wildlife but not the bad? I know. Watch this space, I guess.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. Like, is it going to be... because it's such a I mean, if we're talking about conservation, you know, as part of natural history, then it is a very political thing. Because
it could just be abstract. It could just be like, natural history is the study of wildlife. This is the family of birds. We also have the family of lichen. These are plants. Plants are, you know, different from lichen because of this. Like, it could just be...
Yeah. Question 3, platypus. Discuss. How the hell's that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
and is it just going to be UK-based wildlife?
Nadia, these are the... I don't know.
I can imagine... I have no idea, Ryan. I have no idea.
I'm excited to find out either way. I really am. So yeah, that was the update. It's coming in. So, I mean, we've not got long to find out what it looks like. A few months. And we'll start to know. I wonder if we've got any listeners that are going to be doing their GCSEs.
Oh, God, yeah, please do let us know. See if you're going to take it. And
yeah, do keep us updated. If you're going to take it and you want to tell us what's on the course, oh my God, please email and keep us updated to that. We'd love to know.
Actually, the students that will be going into their GCSE should have made their choices by now. So it would be interesting to see whether the statistics on how much uptake there is of the natural, because they've made they're making their choices now, aren't they? For next.
God, Nadia, I don't know. I forgot thinking about school the moment I left.
I mean, we're really old.
Speak for yourself.
We're the same age.
No, we're not.
We're the same age genre, right?
Oh, it's changing already.
Okay, well.
There's at least 10 years in it.
Shut up. No, there's not. You're looking at my wisdom again, aren't you? And overaging me.
Yes.
Hey nerds, sorry to interrupt the show, it's Ryan here. I just wanted to pop on to tell you something quick. We always want Into the Wild to be a free and accessible show, but it does cost to run this thing. So if you ever have any spare pennies or pounds and you want to chuck it towards your favourite nature, wildlife and conservation podcast, then you can do so by going to www.ko-fi.com/intothewildpod. The link is in the write-up of this episode. Anything you're able to give goes straight back into the shows we produce. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Back onto nature news.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, we've talked a lot in the last few weeks about government funding, budget, how these things work, and I actually said I would give you a bit of an update on the spending review.
Oh yeah, that old
chestnut. Summary. So I guess it's important every year, the government sets out goals and ambitions for what it wants to do, and then with the spending review, it's how much money are we going to give to each thing.
Yeah.
I think it was the 12th of June, the budget came out. So I guess the big headline that we've got here is that the Environmental Land Management Scheme will be given a big uplift to 2 billion. So it was something million for 28-29. So if delivered, it would be one of the largest annual public investments in nature-friendly farming. Wow. So so the Environmental Land Management Scheme is basically farmers put their land into pot. They'll say, like, this field and this field, I'm going to put into wildflower meadow, or I'm going to do this. And then the taxpayer, that's us, we pay landowners for delivering nature-friendly farming type activities.
Okay.
So that is a tick.
Cool.
We have a negative in the budget, which is DEFRA, which is the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, is actually having a massive reduction in its funding. And they are the people that govern ELMS, and they're a really key component in making sure it's delivered. So it's kind of like saying,
right,
like, I guess the reality is, if there's not the staff on the ground, like, making sure this stuff happens, that 2 billion might not necessarily be spent or spent effectively.
Perfect.
DEFRA does not need to be cut. DEFRA needs more
civil
servants.
If you're investing in, like, kind of schemes in it, you need to keep your current investment in people that manage that. Otherwise, it's pointless. It's pointless.
Or how's that money going to go to the most effective places?
Exactly.
But also, it's the checks and balances of, like, has the farmer delivered that?
Exactly.
Maybe we should go check. So actually, other things. So there's been 400 million. So the spending review confirms that 860 million for woodlands and repeats the up to 400 million for trees and peatlands announced in the 2024 autumn statement. So that's been repeated again. Doesn't sound like it's an extra 400 million, it's the same one, but there wasn't any kind of information about how that would be delivered. So my negative in this is this kind of like, for the woodlands, it's always about tree planting and never about like natural regeneration, which is the best kind of way of trees, so stopping deer and things like that. And then there has been flood and coastal resilience receives 4.2 billion over 3 years, but the review is silent on what share will go to the natural flood management measures such as wetland restoration and riparian woodlands. So it's this, does that mean we're just going to dredge rivers and do all of like that kind of stuff, or are we going to re-wet landscape and uplands to stop flooding? Are we going to use some of those? It's not clear on that. it seems to me, what I'm looking at here, by the way, is like a summary article by Natalie Seddon, Professor of Biodiversity for the Department of Biology and Founding Director of the Nature-Based Solutions Initiative at the Smith School of Enterprise Environment at the University of Oxford. So she's written a really great article kind of summarising, like, they're saying this, but then it means this. So we have got these kind of like bits of money invested, but there's also a huge amount. The biggest department, which is the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, is a clear winner, receiving one of the largest uplifts. Billions are committed to nuclear fission, fusion research and carbon capture projects. So it's, and investment in low carbon technology. But it's this kind of thing where like over-investing in technology and under-investing in like looking after our wetlands, native woodlands and soils, which ultimately are the security, they're the thing that underpin our living systems, and the full return on those really does pay dividends. So it's this kind of like really clear, the biggest investment is in this, we're trying to technology our way out of the problem. This is something that I say time and time again.
Well, this is what we said last week as well, wasn't it, with the nuclear waste, the nuclear energy. Like, it's that kind of, we are trying something brand new, which is costing 14 billion.
Yeah.
But if we had just looked after our natural systems and actually invested in green energy a bit earlier, then...
So you look at the billions and billions going into technology, it makes the bits on woodlands look really, really tiny.
Yeah,
and it's like, and guess what? Woodlands capture carbon. So I think it's a very, very mixed review. It's kind of like, yes, there's lots of big investment with the nature-friendly farming, but I feel like it still doesn't see the fact that repairing our ecosystems really is like the longer term net benefit for society and our environment.
Okay, well, thanks for giving us that rundown on the budget. It's always interesting to hear how our government is spending money.
The public purse.
The public purse on public issues.
The nature.
Do you want to wrap this episode up?
Let's wrap this up. Well, thank you, nerds, for listening to another week of Nature News. Now we're in June. This is into our 6th month of Nature News. I'm sure you are far more clued up than you've ever have been, and to show gratitude for that, we actually do ask that you donate via
you want me to come in here? Yeah.
Ko-fi.com/Into the Wild?
Into the Wild Pod?
Yeah,
there you go.
So if you've got a spare £2 or £3, chuck it in the pot and we can keep delivering nature news for you every week. And that's it. I don't know the socials. No, come on.
You don't have to know them. You can just tell people to follow us.
Well, if you're not already following us on Instagram, you should be following us at Into the Wild Pod.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You'll find us. It's Ryan does brilliant things on there, I'm sure. But until next week, have a glorious week.
You know, nerds can also leave us a review.
Oh gosh, you should also leave us a review, especially for Ryan's ability to remind me on what to say. I'm getting better at this, everyone. Leave us a review. Keep cool. Let's do this again.
No, this is it.
Please. God almighty.
Cheers,
Have
nerds.
a great week. Love you all.
Take care.
Bye, nerds.